up, gamers? I'm Jason.
I'm Julie.
And today on Dice and Dragons, we are going to be reviewing the Ironheart Hero Pack for Marvel Champions, the card game, published by Fantasy Flight Games and designed by Michael Boggs and Caleb Grace. Now I'm going to toss it over to Julie, who will tell you more about the game itself.
Obviously, this is an expansion for Marvel Champions, which is intended for 1 to 4 players, ages 14 and above. The 2-player count plays in about 60 to 90 minutes, can go much higher if you increase the number of players.
Yes, there's a lot of management to do, and the villains have a ton of help. So, to tell you a little bit about Ironheart, in particular, this character is Riri Williams. She briefly replaced Iron Man in the Marvel Universe. She created a Tony Stark AI, or the Tony Stark AI founder, I don't remember, but she created her very own suit of armor, because she is one of the most intelligent characters in the universe. And then she decided to take up the mantle. She gave herself the name of Ironheart, and you're going to be upgrading her suit. So you start with a Mark I version of her suit, and you're going to be looking to upgrade it all the way to the Mark III version of the suit. You're going to be placing progress tokens on her character. To do that, there'll be different cards that will give you progress tokens. She has that ability that can be triggered as a civilian on her alter ego side, and there's even some allies that can help her out as well. You'll also want to try to find some of the improved components for her, kind of like Iron Man suit. She's got some photon blasters, some propulsion jets that you'll want to get out if you can find them. She's also playing a leadership deck, so you will have a lot of different allies that you can put into play to help support you in your fight against evil. She is also one of the Champions characters. So far in terms of teams that we have added to Marvel Champions, we've got the Avengers, we've got the Web Warriors, who are an unofficial team, really, and we also have the Guardians of the Galaxy. So the Champions, I think we actually had originally with Miss Marvel. I don't remember, though, but in the comics, they're on the same superhero team, Ironheart, Nova, Miss Marvel. I think even Miles Morales might have been on the team, or unofficially, kind of like Spider-Man. I don't remember, though. But I think I've talked enough about the character. So, on that note,
We're going to grab our drink.
grab our fellow champion.
We're going to take it to the table one more time.
Yep, one more time. So just a little bit of behind the scenes info. We are playing 2 characters so we can get out 2 reviews. So when we get to the end here, you will see us set up for Ironheart and Nova. We're just doing this at the same time, but filming the components and all that stuff separately. So there you go. Just lift up the curtain, and now it's time to get to the game. Now we're going to take a look at the components for the Ironheart Hero Pack for Marvel Champions, the card game. Here you've got some background with regards to Riri Williams, the new rules with regards to Ironheart, how she's going to upgrade to the new different versions, the new keywords, if you do not have any rules detailing how those work yet, and then the Ironheart leadership deck, just a little bit more of a breakdown, as well as the details about her starting deck. So we'll take a look at Ironheart. So there's a way to get progress tokens. Not quite sure. I'm sure we'll see that soon. So you remove 6 progress tokens from her, and then she becomes Ironheart version 2. On the back, she's Riri Williams. So begin the game with this card. Set your other identities aside, and then you may spend a science resource to place 1 progress counter on Riri Williams. So when you upgrade, she gets +2 thwart. Instead, Riri Williams remains identical. So you spend a science resource or 2 resources of any type to place 1 counter on her. Then when she's finally fully upgraded, she gets her hero action, remove 1 progress counter from Ironheart to deal 2 damage to an enemy. Now you don't necessarily need to upgrade to that last form, but definitely seems like it's a good idea. And then you can spend 1 resource of any type to put a progress token on her. Pretty cool. You've got Brawn. While Brawn is exhausted, he gains resource, generate a science resource. That's awesome. So fly over, remove 3 threat from a scheme, and place a progress counter on Ironheart. Photon Beam, deal 4 damage to an enemy and place 1 progress counter on Ironheart. 2 progress counters instead of this attack defeats an enemy. New and improved, choose X different options where it's equal to your version number. So you can search your deck for an Ironheart card and add it to your hand. Give Ironheart a tough status card. You can ready Ironheart. Pretty cool. Sector scan, reduce the cost to play sector scan, where X is equal to the version number. So that's pretty neat. If you're version 3, you won't have to pay anything. Until the end of the round, you may look at the top card of the encounter deck at any time. Do you spend this card, place 1 progress token counter on your identity, and draw 1 card? Very cool. Stroke of genius. Riri Williams, exhaust Riri Williams, choose, deal 2 damage from Riri, or place 1 progress counter on Riri. Tony Stark AI, exhaust the Tony Stark AI, look at the top 2 cards of your deck and add 1 to your hand and discard the other. Photon Blasters, you get +2 hit points. Exhaust Photon Blasters, deal damage to an enemy equal to your version number. And then Propulsion Jets, exhaust Propulsion Jets to remove threat equal to your version number. Very cool stuff. I'm very interested in how this is going to work out. Here we've got our leadership deck. So we start with Cloud 9. So choose a player until the end of the phase. Each aerial character that player controls gets +1 thwart. You've got Falcon. So this is Joaquin Torres, who got the leftover Falcon suit in the MCU, for those that watch Falcon and Winter Soldier. After Falcon attacks or thwarts, spend a energy resource to ready another champion character. We've got Patriot, who you also saw in Falcon and Winter Soldier. Actually, I don't know if we've seen this version. Rayshawn Lucas, I don't think so. We've seen this Patriot, but we have seen a version of Patriot in the MCU. After Patriot enters play, choose a champion character. That character gets +1 to each of its basic powers until the end of the turn. Go all out. You got to spend an energy resource, exhaust your hero to deal damage to an enemy equal to the total of your hero's thwart and attack and defense values. Push ahead, requires a science resource, exhaust your hero to remove threat from a scheme equal to the total of your hero's thwart, attack, and defense values. Morale boost. Until the end of your turn, your hero gets +1 thwart, +1 attack, +1 defense. Those 2 together will be a very nice combo. R&D facility requires 2 science resources. Exhaust R&D facility, remove 1 research counter from it. Choose a friendly character in play. That character gets +1 thwart and +1 attack until the end of the phase. And then the power of leadership, which we've seen before. We've got Agent 13, who I think we have actually seen her card before, if I'm not mistaken. After Agent 13 attacks or thwarts, choose a shield support. Yeah, we saw her in Miles Morales' deck. We've got Snow Guard. After Snow Guard enters play, place up to 3 shift counters here. Well, the shift counters are equal to X. She gets 1 +3 attack, 2 +3 thwart, and 3 +5 hit points, and gains retaliate 1. That's pretty cool. Got Vivian. After Vivian enters play, choose an attachment, non-elite minion, or non-permanent side scheme. Till the end of the round, you negate the text. Go for champions, max 1 per deck. Each champion character in play cannot take damage until the end of the round. That's pretty cool. Got the Helicarrier. Play only for identity as a genius. Exhaust ingenuity to generate a science resource, and you got a few of those upgrades. So that can be really cool, and getting those into play early can really let you develop your suit. So remove 1 progress counter from your identity. Discard this card. If no progress counter was removed, deal yourself 1 face down encounter card, then shuffle this card into the encounter deck. So you can't get rid of this one. That's the first time we've seen one of these cards that you can't get rid of. So Rule by Force. Lucia von Bardas is a cyborg from the criminal elite. She's got cyborg tech, and then political retribution. So she's the enemy, and then the cards that we get that can be added to anyone. We get Bombshell. So divide damage from Bombshell's attack among each enemy. Pretty cool. We have Wasp. Nadia Von Dyne. So Wasp ignores the guard keyword. Very cool. Pinpoint. So another champion, so some new allies. And we get Zax as a new enemy deck that gets added to the game. And as I didn't do it earlier, I'll do it now. I meant to do it. Show off the character art on the back of the rule sheet. So there you have it. We've taken a look at the Ironheart Hero deck. Now keep it right here, as Julie and I will be coming back at you with a review of this expansion. So Julie, what did you think of Ironheart?
Well, at first I wasn't sure, because she takes quite a bit of time to get set up properly, get into her different forms, a little bit like Iron Man. But once she gets going, she's a lot of fun, and I think she's pretty well-rounded. She's not that complicated to play, contrary to other characters. You have to make some tough choices when it comes to, which cards you're playing, or if you're building up to her different forms. And I think it's really important to build up to her different forms. So.
And one thing I'll say about Ironheart versus Iron Man is just Riri Williams, like just basic ability in civilian mode will get you to progress towards getting your fully upgraded Ironheart suit, which is not necessarily the case with Iron Man.
No, Iron Man, you have to wait for the cards to come up. And, with Ironheart, actually, I was able to get her up to her third shape fairly easily.
I did even faster in this last game.
Yeah. But that being said, I don't think I even got really any of her upgrades out, so...
No, well, you did. You had the photon blasters and the propulsion jets like I had. Those are the only two that I believe she's got.
So that being said, she's a lot of fun to play, and she's pretty well rounded. I enjoyed. She has quite a few good thwart cards, contrary to other characters that we've played where they really can't thwart at all. They're all about hitting.
Thor. Well, Thor can, but it's at a huge cost.
It's because that's what I was just thinking about. I'm just going back to how many times I've said, my favorites were Thor, and I'm thinking of Thor, I'm thinking of She-Hulk, I'm thinking of Doctor Strange. I
don't think we've seen anyone that touches Doctor Strange yet, though. Like, that deck of spells of his is ridiculous.
So that being said, she's a lot of fun to play, and I had fun with her playing against Kang, so it's been...
no, this is Claw.
Sorry, Claw, Kang.
Similar names, but the Kang scenario is a lot more involved. One of our favorite scenarios, but not the best to play for review purposes.
No. So yes, I mean, she's a lot of fun. She's got some fun cards. She takes a little bit longer to build, so you have to. Somebody else has to be able to keep things under control as she's gearing up.
Yeah, I definitely will agree with you on that note. And as you mentioned, we haven't played some of our old favorites for a while, but I think it'd be fun maybe around Christmas time. Yeah, that's where we're planning out videos where we have a little bit more flexibility to maybe play some of our old favorites like Captain America, She-Hulk, and just see how they compare to some of these newer characters. But I'm going to agree with you. I really enjoyed playing Ironheart a lot more than I thought I would. She was a lot of fun. I very luckily started with Ingenuity and Riri Williams. So Riri Williams lets you get progress tokens very easily, and Ingenuity generates a science resource to generate progress tokens. So I found myself with also some of the cards that you get progress tokens, just building up to like the Mark II and Mark III. I think in what it was about like 4 turns, you were kind of looking over like, how did you get to your Mark III suit already? So that was pretty cool. She is very good at thwarting once you can get like her upgrades. The propulsion jets and the photon blasters, I think, are some of the key cards for her. Photon blasters let you take care of tough status cards very easily, and always having a card where you can thwart for 3 is super helpful. I thought that was just really very cool. Now, she does have a leadership deck, and it did work well. But I can't really say that I felt that her being like a leader and the leadership cards really necessarily added a lot to the gameplay of her. But I did really like the all-out leadership card that she had. So that combined with Falcon was pretty cool. You could basically do all-out and all-out again, which stacks all of your stats. So thwart, attack, defense into one big hit. So you can do a metric ton of damage with Ironheart in one turn. I think you can essentially, if you plan it out right, max out at almost like over 30 damage in one round, which is pretty crazy.
Yeah, I think in the one I did, the game that I had, if I remember correctly, I made 22 damage.
Yeah, you did 22 damage. It would have just been if you'd had the ability to reset into another like all out, you get that other full 10 that you can do, which is, it's pretty nuts. Like, as people have been saying, the heroes are getting let out of control. Some of the villains are out of control. I know that we were having some issues fighting Ronin and stuff back in the day when we were playing Galaxy's Most Wanted. I'm playing Ironheart here, and I'm like, man, I think she might just demolish Ronin, who gave us a hard time with Rocket and Groot.
Yeah, those decks weren't great though.
No, we fixed them and then it was a lot more fun, but playing Ironheart and some of the newer heroes, I'm like, man, they're just completely outclassing certain ones, which I think is a little bit unfortunate in terms of the overall balance of the game. That doesn't affect this pack. I think that this one is a lot of fun.
Yeah, I definitely, I mean, we've gotten into characters that I've never heard of. So, I mean, and that's okay. Yeah, she was fun to play with. And I would say, if you're looking to see, you're wondering if this is an expansion that you should add. I think so. I had a lot of fun with her. I think that she's fun to play with and a good addition to the set, the roster of heroes.
Yeah, that is a very great way to phrase it. And you don't know a lot about Ironheart, but she's showing up in Black Panther 2. She's got her own show coming, so you're going to learn a whole lot about her. And what's pretty neat, and I don't know if this is planned out with Fantasy Flight Games, but it's Marvel licensing, so I think there definitely is some type of crossover. I mean, we've got the Hood scenario pack. We've now got Ironheart. Ironheart's main villain is the Hood, so there you go. It's just kind of interesting to see where this game is tying into the plans that Marvel has for the future in terms of what they're doing for multimedia. And X-Men 97 is going to be coming back. And what do you know? We now have some X-Men content coming for the game. So, food for thought.
I don't have anything else to add, really.
No, I don't think there's really anything else to add. She's a really fun character. The flow of getting her geared up is a lot easier than Iron Man. If you can get the right cards earlier on, I would definitely suggest trying to mulligan for Riri Williams and possibly Ingenuity. If you can start out with those two cards, it's going to be just a lot easier to get her going than anything else. So, Julie, what is your score for Ironheart?
I'm not sure if I want to give her a 7.5 or an 8. I think I'm going to stick with a 7.5.
And why is it the 7.5?
I mean, she still requires certain cards to get her going. I was lucky enough to get them fairly early in the game. Maybe because of the way things were shuffled for you, you got them really early in the game. They were probably stuck together from my deck.
They were not stuck together. There was like 2 Ingenuities. I had a bunch of cards I didn't want. But
anyways, I think that plays a little bit against her, maybe taking her down a half point.
No, and I can definitely see that there are certain scenarios where it could definitely go very badly, and we're playing against Claw because he's actually more challenging than I thought he would be, at least with the other hero that we're going to be talking about, the way things were working for him. And we were pushed to the limit like a couple of times in terms of almost going to the next scheme and in terms of the damage that was coming out. And while Ironheart didn't really struggle that much, she definitely wasn't always the most useful during your turns. So I can definitely see that score. I had a little bit better experience, but thinking back as how Julie's game went and how I was kind of like frustrated when I was playing Nova, the other hero, because stuff wasn't necessarily going the way I wanted it to. I'm going to agree with you. I'm going to give it a 7.5. I think that the character can feel like an 8 and even better when you get the right cards going, but because of those slower experiences and depending on the balance of your hero roster, it can definitely not be the most fun hero to play.
Agreed. So on that note, it's time to remind you to like, comment, subscribe, and hit the bell to be notified when we have some new content for you.
And take a look down below in the video description. You'll find links to all of our social media feeds, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. If you'd like to see some pictures of Julie and I playing Marvel Champions, the card game, playing as Ironheart, playing as Nova, or any of the other heroes, there'll be plenty on those feeds. Also down there's a link to multizone.ca, a great Canadian game store. So if you're looking to pick up any Marvel Champions content and you want to get some discounts, click our link there. It'll get you 10% off your next purchase. It's a great way to support the channels. A portion of that purchase will be returned to us. And then popping up in front of us will be links to some of our previously released videos. Over here will be our most recent release. And over here is going to take you back or take you to our review of the base game or Nova, depending on when that comes out. Gonna have to just remember to update it if it is a little while from the release date of this video. Now we need to
grab our drink,
grab our best friend and fellow champion.
We're gonna keep playing games.
Yeah, we're gonna keep playing Marvel Champions. We're trying to catch up on some reviews, so You may not see them all coming out on this channel in quick succession, but there'll be definitely some pictures on social media.